Hi, my name is Anna Gałkowski. I graduated in 2006. And oh my God, that was 6 years ago. I'm really old. Let's just get that, out of the way first. That's weird. I've never said that out loud before. You might recognize my last name. My dad is the assistant principal at Mona Shores. He's the best. And I'm currently living in Washington, D.C. I'm a graduate student at American University. I'm studying public policy and political communication. And then for my job, I work full-time as the national political coordinator for Congressman Steny Hoyer's leadership PAC, again, here in D.C. I'm still singing. I'm a member of a semi-professional a cappella group that's called Track Maintenance, and it's a group of people just like you who sang all through high school and college, and now they're doing it in their adult years, and it's a blast. After I went to Mona Shores, I went straight to Albion College, and I was really involved in music there too. I was the music director for our a cappella group, the Euphonics, and that was like a huge part of my life, and I'm very thankful that I get to kind of bring that over into my real life now too. As I have been kind of thinking about these questions that Mr. Lawton wanted us to address, I've been thinking about a lot about kind of where I was before I was in the choir program and where I was after, and so I thought I would kind of start talking about where I was when I was in your seat and first day of high school and my first day in the choir program. And I was the way I imagine many of you are. I was terrified to be in school. I didn't know how to handle like a billion new people. I didn't know how to handle such a big building. I feel like in middle school you are still a kid, and then suddenly you hit high school and now you're a semi-adult and you're supposed to be all grown up, and you're in this very grown up situation, and you're going to all these classes that are a lot harder. You're probably in AP classes. But I still felt very much like a child, and in many ways I was. All I was concerned about my first day was being cool. I wanted my hair to look right and my clothes to look right. I wore the most heinous pair of like acid wash jeans. They were bell bottoms. They were terrible. But that was what was cool, so that's what I did. All I wanted to do was fit in with the popular kids and make sure I was doing what they were doing and saying what they were saying and looking like they looked. And if you're doing that, you should stop, because that's not worth it. But I really, like, as a person, I was actually really unhappy. I was, like I said, terrified to be at a new school. I felt really comfortable in middle school. Had kind of like integrated my way into making a little life for myself there, and now all of a sudden all of that's changed. I wasn't in all these groups with the same people, and it's a whole nother world, and suddenly you're on the bottom rung of the food chain there, which is really, really terrifying. And I was really unhappy when I was on my first day of high school, because like I said, I was scared and I was concerned with all the wrong things, and I wasn't that nice, and I had no direction. I didn't know anything about myself. And looking back, how I found myself and how I figured out what I'm good at and who I am all happened in the room that you are currently in. I grew up in that choir room, and who I was the day I left was dramatically different than the day that I started. So I've been thinking about how to best organize some of my answers to some of these questions that Mr. Lawton wanted us to talk about, and I came up with the 7 rules for choir. So I'm just going to kind of go through each of them and share little stories with them also. My first one is have your sing from the balcony moment. When I came into choir, I did not have the creative capacity that I had as I went through it. When I graduated, I am still a very creative person, and I gained that from being in the choir room. And this is the story that goes along with this is very funny and kind of ridiculous too, but it's my favorite for a couple of reasons. So the story is that my junior year, the Pops theme was Friends and Family, and the musical Wicked had come out just a couple months or like a year or something before, and I really wanted to do Defying Gravity, and I was like hell-bent that the song was going to be in Pops and that I was going to sing it, but I had to find, another person. So there was this other girl in our choir who I actually, for whatever reason, I don't even know what it was, just didn't really like her very much, but she was an incredible singer. She was a year younger than me, and I had heard her sing a million times, and she was amazing, and I knew that she would be the perfect person to sing the song with me. So I asked her one day after chamber choir, and she said that she would love to. And so we got together, and like I said, I didn't really like her at the time, so it was kind of weird, but we worked for months, on like two straight months. Every single day after school, we were planning this song and singing it and rehearsing and trying to just like make it better as much as we could. And the reason I guess I like this story so much is that girl, her name is Sarah Walkus. I didn't know her, I didn't like her, and now she is my best friend in the entire world. And I talk to her 5 times every single day, and I literally don't go a day without talking to her, and she will be the maid of honor in my wedding. And I think back, and had I not been in choir with her, had we not had this chance to collaborate like this, we may not have ever met or been friends. So that's a part of it too. Make sure you meet friends and talk to every single person, no matter what you think you do or do not like them. You guys are a singing family, a music family, and you should just try to get to know everybody, because your maid of honor, best man, could be sitting next to you right now, and you don't even know it. But anyway, the rule, like I said, is have your sing from the balcony moment, because Sarah and I got into pops, and I had this idea that the thing that was going to make this act so epic was that at the end I was going to go up and sing from the balcony. And I was told no by like 100 people. Excuse me, like the sound guy said no, the stage manager said no, the guy who ran the theater didn't like me and he said no like 1,000 times, and I think Lawton probably said no a couple times. And I can remember at like one of the dress rehearsals, I just ran out to the hallway, and I said to Lawton, I was like, I have to do this. I have to try this from the balcony. It would be so amazing. Please just like let me try it. If it doesn't work, I won't talk about it again. And he begrudgingly said yes and let me try it, and we ended up doing it in the actual Pops act, and it, to me, just like made my entire world. Did anybody else care that I was up in the balcony? I don't know, but like that opened my life. And not only because that was just a really cool performing situation for me, but because I had this vision and I made it happen. And I think when I went into school and I was in like my first couple of days of choir, I wouldn't have that kind of self-assurance. I wouldn't have ever had the idea to even do it in the first place. So, you're going to grow as a creative person when you're in choir, and you're going to have these ideas, and don't let anyone tell you no, unless they're like illegal or can't really happen. But if you've got an idea, like make it happen, find a way. So that's rule number 1, find your own sing from the balcony moment. Number 2 is find your niche. Like I said, when I first came to choir, I didn't really know who I was, what I was about. I knew I liked singing, but that was basically it. I found in choir that singing was definitely, a passion for me, but I don't think it was my call. It wasn't what I was supposed to do for the rest of my life. And but what my calling, if you will, is public service. And in the middle of my junior year, actually, we had some problems, and they were talking about all these budget cuts, and they were going to cut, our accompanists, and they were going to cut all this stuff from the middle school. We weren't going to have enough kids coming up, and from the middle school to high school, like theater program. And I one night said to myself, like, we have to fix this. Like, I have to find a way to fix this. And I had told Mr. Lawton that I was going to run this program, and I was going to do it in 2 weeks, and we were going to get middle school kids and elementary school kids. We were going to bring them to the high school, and we were going to teach them the stuff that we knew, the stuff that we loved as students, and they were going to come and get a taste for it. And then by the time they got to high school, they were going to want to be in us, and they were going to find their own passion, in 4th grade. And Mr. Lawton, I don't know why, but he let me do this whole thing, and it now turned into Allegretto Notte, which I'm sure that some of you have done before. And that's grown throughout the years, and that was what I learned about myself in choir, was that I had a passion for public service, and that was what I was good at. I was a good leader, and I could organize things, and again, brought this vision to fruition. So you have a niche. Maybe you're not the best singer. That's okay. I was not the best singer. There are, tons of people who are going to be better than you, and that's okay. That's not what choir's about. It's not about being the best singer. It's about what you can put into it and what you can get out of it and how you can grow. So that's my number 2. My number 3 rule is really fast. It's that if you are, and you have to listen to me like really seriously, if you are sitting in these seats right now and you're thinking to yourself that for a Pops act, you and your 6 best friends want to do Lady Marmalade and dance and sing the song that you cannot sing, and somehow it gets into Pops, don't do it, because that is on video and people will have that. And if someday you want to run for public office, somebody's going to show that on CNN and you're not going to get elected. So don't do it. Knock that thought out of your head if it's in there. My number 4 rule is study for your theory exam. Now, I think Mr. Lawton may have mentioned that this is not anymore a thing, but it used to be that if you didn't pass your music theory exam, you could not advance to the next choir. So me being like a cocky jerk who is 16 years old, 15 years old, thinking, well, I'm a good singer, so I'm not going to have to try to do my theory exam. I was wrong, because I failed my theory exam and I did not get moved up in choir, and I was in treble choir for 2 years, and that sucked. So don't do that. Never be, and I guess there's a wider moral of this story, is that no matter how good you might think that you are, keep working. Like, you are never too good for this program in any sense. You have to work for everything that you do and everything that you get out of it. And you better believe that, like, the next time I took that theory exam, I worked my butt off, and I think I got like 100%, because there was no, like, you just cannot take it for granted, and you can never stop working for it, because what you put into this, you're going to get back out. So study for your theory exam. If you don't do theory exams anymore, learn your music. Know your music when you go in, that kind of thing. Like, learn the words to the songs. Be able to put your music away and know it, because otherwise you're just not going to get a very good experience out of it. So put in the hard work. Number 5 is that choir is a shared experience, and you should always remember that. If I did have anything that was near to a regret, it would be that I made my time in choir a very singular experience for a very long time. Everything that you do is going to dramatically affect how the person next to you enjoys their time in choir. So there are a few things that go along with this. Just be nice and be supportive. It takes a lot of guts for somebody who has not been singing their entire life to get up in front of a whole group and, produce some sort of song. Like, be courteous to people and encourage people, because the more you encourage people, the better they're going to feel about being there in choir, and the better all of you feel like that, the better you're going to sound. Make friends, and think of this immediately as a family. It is a shared experience that everyone has together. So don't taint it for someone else. Be kind and encouraging, and when somebody gets up and puts themselves out there, like, congratulate them and encourage them to keep doing that. Number 6 is to not regret the things that you have done, but those that you did not do. The choir room for you should be a place, like a safe place, like where you can go and you can be yourself and you can try anything. I really encourage you to not walk away from these 4 years and say, God, I really wish I would have tried out for that tree solo, or I can sing Sia Humba like nobody's business, but I didn't ever get up and try, or I didn't audition for Allegros. Like, it's going to happen. You're going to get rejected. My freshman year, tried out for Allegros and had practiced this song called Freddie My Love. It was the only thing I sang for like years and years and years. And I went up, and at the audition, it was all upperclassmen, and I was like one of the only freshmen even in the room, and I was terrified. And I kicked butt. I sang that song better than I think I could have ever sang it. Did I get an Allegros? No, but that was okay, because I got up there and I proved myself to everybody in the room and to myself that I could sing the song really well. You're not always going to get a yes, and you're not always going to be able to have every solo. You might never get a solo, but if you don't try, it's just, you're wasting your time. So get up there and practice your stuff, and don't regret ever putting yourself out there, because that's how you get a lot of this experience. Okay, and then my last rule here is to just sing, and just keep singing. Sing to yourself, sing in your car, sing in the shower, and come into choir every day knowing that you're not in a scary class, you're not being tested, you're singing. You're there to do something that's so enjoyable and make beautiful music with the people around you. And that is such a refreshing thing to be able to do. If I could spend an hour of my day every single day doing that, I would do it in a heartbeat. You're in a really special place, and you're in great hands. Mr. Lawton is one of the most influential people who's ever been in my life. He's like my hero and my godsend in so many ways, and you guys are just in great hands. You're going to have an amazing, amazing time. Don't be scared. Give it all you've got, and just remember that when you walk into that classroom, it's a whole new world. It's your safe place. You can be exactly who you are, and I encourage you to take every single day and make sure you know who you are and just keep singing. Thank you, and I hope you guys have a really good first day.